they had a cigar from Nicaragua, which was the best-selling cigar. Therefore, I knew that Nicaragua and Honduras had beautiful land, beautiful climatic conditions, and with the proper seed, the Cuban seeds, you can have a very good harvest over there. It's a country like Cuba also, from where you can get from one region versus the other very different kind of soils, therefore tobacco, and different altitudes, again, which affects the tobacco, and thus different aromas, different flavors. When you mix these, really you can come up with beautiful cigars.
A lot of people get hung up on the fact that it's like Cuban cigars are the only good cigars. It's like saying French wines are the only good wines, which is, I remember what my father told me when I was younger, but now you can't say that because there are great wines out of California, Australia, Spain, Chile, Germany. And it's the same thing with cigars, because a lot of it has to do with the soil in which the tobacco is grown in, and those nutrients that are in that soil will go into the tobacco, which at the end result gets into a cigar. Like when we're working on Italia, for example, we're saying, well, the people that like Brasilia, which is known as being a fuller-bodied cigar, they're going to like Italia or would want to smoke Italia. It needs to be full-bodied, so can we try a little bit of this Nicaraguan tobacco from this region, because we know the soil in this region is, you know, a blacker, clayer soil, and it yields a flavor that is a stronger flavor, and the plants are all sun-grown, so you know that that's going to be a stronger variety of tobacco. Can you put a little bit more of this Esteli Ligero in there? Or if you want a little bit of sweetness, you say, can you put a little bit more tobacco from Jalapa, where the soil is browner and the tobacco is sweeter, in here?
We grow well for sale, okay, the Cuban seed. Cuban seed is the, in my opinion, is the very good tobacco, no? It's very sweet, no? It has aroma, has good flavor. In my opinion, is the very great seed.
It's very important that we choose the right seed. Normally, the middle of the field will have less traffic, less aggravation, less pressure, per se, and we let them flower.
Getting the best seeds out of the strongest tobacco plants from the field. The strongest, largest tobacco plants are left in the field, and then, you know, they place a bag over them. And the reason why they're bagged is that you don't want the pollen from the weaker plants to be blown over and then to hit the stigma of a stronger plant.
And you take native soil and you add more nutrients in it, and then you put the seeds in it, so that the seeds from the beginning has a beautiful start, so that when you transplant the seedling onto the field, the transplant operation will be less severe on the seedling.
Starting the process, basically, of growing tobacco, or starting with the baby plants, is like nurturing a baby, period. You have to nurture and take extra care of the baby before it can grow up into a successful child and then an adult.
You have the right soil to start with, and you have the mother soil. So now it's going to merge, and we'll have a better chance of growing to a healthy plant.
The seed, we put it in the greenhouse in September, no? In the greenhouse, the tobacco has more or less 40 days. The tobacco is in the field more or less 55 days. We're picking every week more or less 2 leaves. The total, the leaf, the plant have is more or less 14 and 16 leaves. Normally, every week, we picking, okay, we harvested 2 leaves. Okay, the first 2 leaves is the first priming. The second priming is the leaf number 3 and number 4. The number 3 priming is leaf number 5, number 6, no? And the total, the priming is more or less 7 priming or 8 priming.
Now, as you go up on the plant, There are different functions of these leaves. These leaves are called seco, viso, and ligero. Ligero comes from the top of the plant. Those leaves closest to the sun are thicker leaves, and those leaves are used to give strength to the cigar. The taste will come from the viso, which is the middle section of the plant, and seco, which will be the thinner leaves, will burn better. So you need a combination of the three to give you a very flavorful profile in a cigar. Basically, there are two types of tobacco. One is the shade grown, and most of the wrappers are shade grown. And shade grown tobacco will have less harsh effect of the sun, so it will be thinner, larger, and taller plants. It will give also more output, more leaves per plant. You also grow tobacco which is not under the shade, that is used for filler tobacco or binders.
After the leaves are picked and brought into curing barns, each leaf is sewn one by one. It has to be hung to dry. None of this is done artificially. The reality is that sometimes the art of making a great cigar does ultimately begin with growing great tobacco. Without great tobacco, you can't do it.
The tobacco going to the barn, no? And we have special equipment and special checking every day, and every night, 24 hours for day.
And the barn is actually modernized, the ones that we are using, where you do not depend on the humidity or the temperature of the outside. You control the humidity and you control the temperature so that the leaves have a chance of losing the water content that they have slowly at the rate that you want. That will take about 6 weeks. And they will start to become brown. Once that they use their water content, we start to bring them down and move it to the plant.